Welcome back. This is Jeff Cox. I'm with Bryan Jackson, Dusty Messenger. We're here for our second segment. We're talking about Bryan's world record attempt tomorrow on wheeling. And we're going to talk kind of about the process of what all is involved in this and him getting mentally prepared and all that. So, Bryan, you want to share with us how this all comes about and what you got to focus on?
Well, you know, I was making silly faces while you was talking.
I figured so.
We got to have fun, you know. This all started all my life. I've been asked, how long can you ride a wheelie, Bryan? And Thanksgiving last year, I decided to go out and do a live Facebook wheelie on my motorcycle and talk to people and just bless people with encouragement and love and hope. And rode a wheelie 6.5 miles. And that's about as far as I could hold on. That's where this world record originated from. There's lots of world records out there for how fast you can ride a wheelie. In fact, the world record is over 300 miles an hour for a wheelie. That's crazy,
wow.
Isn't it?
I did not know that.
Yeah, anyway, I just thought, you know, the slower you go on a motorcycle, the harder it is.
That's right.
And Dusty here has helped me with this tribute ATK, USA-made ATK dirt bike to help it wheelie at slow speeds. And one of the things that we did in trying to replicate the Doug Domokos wheelie bike was use the Gyro Motor on the front wheel. And it simulates the motorcycle. We're going probably, what, 20 miles an hour. I think it turns at 1,800 RPMs and makes a lot of difference. Now, people look at that and they think, okay, well, that's really easy. And I've had friends that can wheelie motorcycles for 20 miles that can't ride a wheelie on that thing because it's like a three-legged elephant that's sick. I know when I first bought it, I went in and told my wife, I said, man, I don't know what I did, but this is not going to work. I could ride a pretty good wheelie on a dirt bike, but I couldn't ride one on that. But, you know, we've trial and errored for, what, 2 years, Dusty, to fine-tune it?
Yes, sir.
And Dusty is an incredible fabricator, and I wouldn't have these units here if it wasn't for Dusty, and it's been such a blessing to this mission and the vision of this, to have him just a few miles from me at Fried Rice in Oldham, Texas. But yeah, we ought to just get up and go look at it.
Show us
some
talk
about it a little bit.
So there's all kind of one-off stuff on this.
Yes. There is so much stuff custom fabricated. The two big eye-catching things with this bike is that motor right there, because a lot of people that know just a little bit about motorcycles, they walk up to that and they say, oh, a two-wheel drive. and it does look like a two-wheel drive. Yeah, it's got a little bitty, what is that, Triumph or something, timing chain?
It's a cam chain off of one of these.
Okay. But anyway, that's the gyro motor, and I'll just show you real quick what that does. So when I pop a wheelie, I got a switch on the handlebar, and I hit that switch when I get up in the air, and there goes the front wheel.
And that gyro effect's just helping.
Gyro effect helps when you're going slow. A dirt bike was never made to wheelie at a slow speed. They're high center, top heavy. They're just not made to do that. Trials bikes are so much easier for wheeling. You see all these people doing stuff on crotch rockets, and I'm not taking any ability away from them, but you have such a rolling mass of energy because of the weight that it's just a totally different ball game. But that right there is a difference maker. I always tell people it's not a miracle worker, but if you're good at riding wheelies and you ride a wheelie with a gyro motor on the front wheel, you will fall in love. You know, all my stuff doing the track wheelies, the Arenacross track wheelies and whatnot, I do that at 5 miles an hour. Slower you go, the more important that is. And it helps when you're turning, helps going over obstacles and all that. Because if you turn this wheel to the left or the right, that gyro energy will actually pull you. And it's somewhat like what do you call those things?
A
rudder? Yeah, a rudder.
Like a rudder?
Yeah, I mean, and it makes a little difference. But
sure.
Again, it's not a miracle worker. But if you know how to wheelie, it makes a lot of difference. This is the second big eye catcher.
I'm about to say, this big sprocket here, the first time I saw this unit, I was like, how many teeth are on that sprocket?
Yeah, it's a 74-tooth sprocket. It's exactly the same gear ratio that Doug Domokos run on his ATK 250. And we had to have it manufactured. Nobody that makes sprockets tools up to make sprockets that big for anything. And it has worked out to be perfect gear ratio wise for the things that I'm doing. And you can watch old videos of Doug Domokos doing his wheelies, and you can see him, he'll take off in third gear and he'll just immediately start stomping down. Very, very hard to start off a wheelie slow. And of course, I know a lot of you guys have watched me in Arenacross tracks. I'll just put both my feet down and rear that thing up and just walk it a little ways. Because it's so hard on an Arenacross track, they're so short and so tight, you can't hardly take off in third and have time to shift down to first gear before you get to the first obstacle or the first corner. This is something else that we added early on, the carpet tape, which Doug Domokos used to use. That was probably good if he's 20 years old, but at 57 years old, it doesn't work too good. Maybe for a 100-foot wheelie, you know, but not for an hour.
I'm sure for the fatigue, that's got to be.
It's made a tremendous difference. I didn't like it when Dusty first built it for me. He built me 2 different ones. We did lots of sampling. It used to be about 4 inches higher than this. I even had one with a roll bar pad. We tried several things, but the hardest thing is being able to maneuver around on the motorcycle, like if you're turning or if the wind blows or something of that nature. But I did get used to it. It just took a little while. You'll notice the cylinders on this have all been changed, and we'll get Dwayne over here and get a look at this back brake system.
Massive.
Oh, it is unbelievable. So it has a Brembo dual caliper, a dual piston caliper here, and I use that for my right finger brake, which is on the throttle side. And I know that's not common because that's your front brake lever. But I'm telling you, on a stunt bike and a wheelie bike, you're always kicking legs out, trying to have balance and whatnot. And if you're a motocross racer, you're used to using that finger anyway. And if you're fixing a loop, it's just second nature to grab that lever. So we made it into another back brake, and it's been amazing to have that. Of course, right up here we have a stacker clutch over brake. That is a manufactured product out in the stunt world. So the top lever, your first 2 fingers, is a clutch. Your outside 2 fingers is yet another single puck brake caliper back here. The other single puck brake caliper is actually goes to the foot brake on the other side. Now you guys will notice this has 1 shock on the left rear only, and it's a right side drive motorcycle. This is a USA made bike, even though a lot of the parts come from Italy. And I'm sure you're looking at this. This is actually from our sign shop. That is a manufactured mud flap for the rain that we're going to endure tomorrow. Because if you look right up in here, we have a totally exposed air filter. And the reason for that is the angle of the carburetor is about 20 degrees higher than it would be on a normal bike, because you can't have that normal angle when it's sitting upright all the time. The battery box is under here where the air filter box used to be. Because we have an alternator on it for the motor up here. You have to have a battery.
So hence having the other air filter that's...
yeah, so we didn't ever really design this to be run for an hour in the rain. So we're in uncharted territories, but we've been trying everything that we can do and testing, and every day doing some different things to try to help make this happen for such a long time out in the elements.
Well, what about like anything special setup, air pressure that helps on the tire setup on something like this?
You know, we're running trials tires on the motorcycle that's worked out real good instead of having the real wide space knobs that most motocross bikes have. And that's been really good. We're running a 2-pound weight on the flywheel.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the woods riders, you're a woods rider,
yes, sir.
They'll run 8 ounce, 9 ounce, I think sometimes 11 ounce, 2 pounds. So it just helps at tractor because you're running at a low RPM all the time. We've had this carburetor off probably, I would say, 24 times in the last 2 or 3 weeks, trying to get the jetting right. You have to worry about fuel efficiency, fuel economy. You have to worry about it not loading up, because when you're riding a wheelie, I'm not good enough to just coast a little ways and blow it out, you know. So, yeah, I think we went from a 230 to a 150 main jet.
Yeah, we dropped it way
Difference
down.
on meter and rods, and of course the carburetor's jacked up a lot, as I mentioned earlier. The reeds are all standard in there. All the cooling systems standard on it. We was having a little bit of trouble with it overheating. We went to running a race fuel and rejetted once again, and that seems to have our overheating problem done. Another reason that we've taken the carburetor off so many times is you don't really think about it riding a short wheelie, but when you ride a wheelie a mile or 2 miles, and then you jump up to 6 miles and then 8 miles, it's unbelievable what happens with arm pump. So taking a little bit of tension off of that slide in the carburetor, one coil at a time,
Made a difference.
after one, after another, after another, after another, because you don't want to get it too short, and you can't just walk down to the Ace Hardware and get you a new spring for your ATK carburetor. So, you know, it has feedback. You have to have feedback when you have the twist, but very little spring pressure now. We just put these the new Emig grips on here, which are a little softer compound. That's helped with the vibration too. And you think about vibration, and I know the Woods guys knows more about this than I do, but you know, when I'm doing these long distance wheelies, I can take my legs off and I can swing them, and I've got these pegs up here to where I can stretch out, because normal position is about 110 degrees on your legs when you're wheeling, and if you can stretch out, it makes a lot of difference. You can do a lot of things when you get comfortable riding long distance wheelies, but you can't take your right hand off. I can't. Generally speaking, you won't see that happen on a dirt bike. So yeah, that's been cool getting to experiment with all that stuff. You guys will see that I have a camera mount up here. I have a voice recorder in my helmet. I wear headphones in my helmet, hooked to a phone here on top of my bars that allows me to hear what my average speed is, how far I've went, those kind of things, in case I'm having trouble seeing it. Also the voice recorder can hear me talking to other people that are, you know, I have a vehicle in front of me, I have a vehicle behind me, and if something goes wrong, I have to get updates from everybody else. They're letting me know when cars go by, and that microphone and speaker is all right up here by my helmet, so it's neat to be able to hear those things and record some of those things as we're doing it. So quite a work of art. It's been lowered about 4 inches. What did I miss, Dusty? You worked on this thing?
You said Triumph. The regulator was off of a Triumph because two-stroke motorcycles had no charging system.
Okay.
It did have, for some reason on this two-stroke motor, Rotax did put a charging coil in it. And I found the 2 yellow wires. I checked the voltage. It was the same as the Triumph. So I bought a Triumph voltage regulator, stuck it on there, and it recharges the battery while the motor's running on the front tire.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible how much is done. It's somewhat kind of like a magic show in some ways. There's so many elements behind the scenes that you just don't realize. It's not just like you hop on a motorcycle and all of a sudden try to ride a 10-mile, 1 hour wheelie under 10 miles an hour. But yeah, Dusty's helped us figure out how to get there, and it's been an incredible journey.
Yeah, beautiful motorcycle.
Well, cool. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to come back with another segment here in probably 15 or 20 minutes and look at the flipping three-wheeler and the wheelie three-wheeler that we've replicated of Doug Domokos. Man, they are very interesting units, and hope you tune back in. Again, God bless you guys, man. We're enjoying doing this, and I know we're behind on all the comments and whatnot, but we're going to get back to that. We don't leave you standing on that, but love you guys, appreciate you, and we'll be back in a little bit.